When you do live TV, you risk all kinds of problems. As you know, pro wrestling is a sport where accidents can easily happen. By offering many live shows, WWE has unintentionally created scenes that we weren't supposed to see. It is a delight to meet you on the wrestling paradise to present you moments that were shown by mistake in the American Federation. Are you ready to be shocked when you learn how an error has already been used in an original way in a story with Roman Reigns? Do you want to know more about the secrets behind Jeff Hardy's iconic swanton bomb on Randy Orton? Do you want to discover what's inside the Money in the Bank briefcase? And are you curious to learn how a cameraman has already made a serious mistake in 2021 that ruined the end of a match? You have come to the right place, because in our video we will see several scenes together that were filmed by accident, and they may surprise you. You are on the Wrestling Paradise, WWE moments you were not supposed to see. Let's go. Let's start with a moment that took place in July 2021 on Night Raw. A special confrontation was set between Elias, the WWE guitar player, and Jackson Ryker. It was a symphony of destruction match. The concept was fun. There were multiple musical instruments around the ring that could serve as weapons for the wrestlers. It was a rather brutal confrontation, but there was a small detail that should not have been filmed. At the very end of the match, we saw an impressive superplex of Ryker on Elias that made them go through a table outside the ring. That led to the referee's 3 count, which gave Jackson the win. If we look closely, we can guess something strange. A hand discreetly grabs Ryker's hand to put it on Elias.
Please end this now!
It was actually the referee's hand. We can say that he helped the wrestlers so that the match could end. On the other hand, it was quite amateurish to see this on the screen. This is the kind of little details that can break the viewer's immersion in a match and brutally remind us that everything is staged. It shows us the important role of the cameraman. In just a few millimeters, their framing can ruin the viewer's experience. As you may know, Roman Reigns is one of wrestling's biggest stars today. He did multiple WrestleMania main events, his reign of several years shattered all records, and his tribal chief character seems to have entertained a lot of fans.
Acknowledge me!
However, a few years ago, he was the big dog character. His entrance was a little different, and there was a little secret behind it that was shown by accident. At that time, when he arrived in the arena, he would hit the ground with his fist, which usually set off fireworks. It was a badass move, which made it even more impressive. On the other hand, by hitting the ground with his fist so often, he weakened his wrist. Then the company did something nice for its star. He ended up having a small cushion on the floor where he put his fist. On several occasions, viewers will be able to see it. Of course, it's good that Roman Reigns didn't destroy his wrist, but some might think it broke the magic of this beautiful entrance a little. The next one is about the New Day team. Together they embodied positivity and always brought a touch of comedy to the shows.
Looks on their faces would indicate.
Nevertheless, during WrestleMania 32 in 2016, they were involved in a somewhat problematic moment. For the showcase of the Immortals, they were entitled to a unique and spectacular entrance. We could see a big box of booty-O's toppling over, and the 3 happy fellows were coming out of the cereal box. The effect was quite nice, but there was actually a little problem. For the viewers, it was unquestionable. They were inside this box at the time it came down. But the people on site will see something else. They will see 2 technicians inside completely rocking it. Then the New Day members will arrive just afterwards to go inside and do their entrance. Although it is not a moment broadcast by mistake, we can consider that this great manipulation should not have been so apparent for all the fans on site. This is a too obvious deception strategy that perhaps should have been done otherwise. This new moment happened at the Crown Jewel show in October 2021. There was the final point of the memorable rivalry between Edge and Seth Rollins, which had been going on since the summer. It offered us several unforgettable scenes. In their Hell in a Cell match, they had a violent last war in which it wasn't possible to run away. They used different objects. However, there is a specific moment that we shouldn't have seen, and that should have been filmed otherwise. As you can see, Seth Rollins grabs a bar that came from a chair initially to hit Edge with it in the eye. The rated R superstar then holds his eye. He does some acting to give the impression he was hit, which is the goal of the wrestlers. But if we pay attention, we notice that Seth Rollins put his thumb on the end of the bar to make sure not to hurt his colleague. Of course, it was professional and respectable of Rollins to want to protect his co-worker. However, because of this camera angle which showed us his hand very closely, we could easily see all the manipulation. This is a detail that can break the illusion we are in when we watch a wrestling match. It is necessary that the wrestlers bring us into a story where we believe in their suffering and their emotions. Because of a moment that could have been executed better, the effect of this shot was still a little bit ruined, and it's too bad. As you might know, wrestlers are forced to secretly communicate with each other so that everything goes perfectly. If they don't exchange with codes, their moves may not be synchronized and lead to disaster. On the other hand, we are not supposed to see these signals as viewers. However, this is what happened on an episode of SmackDown on April 4, 2008. In this show, there was a tremendous clash. The Undertaker faced his brother Kane. This is a time when the dead man was the heavyweight champion, while his brother was ECW champion. In this confrontation, there was going to be a sequence that was the Phenom's trademark. The famous moment when he suddenly gets up after having been lying on the mat, as if he came back from the dead. Except that on that day, Kane would be lying next to him and he would also do it exactly at the same time. The two men had to be perfectly synchronized for it to look good. As you can imagine, they communicated secretly so that everything went well. By looking closely, we can see this precise moment on the screen, which should not have been shown. If you pay attention, you can see the Undertaker touching Kane's hand to indicate to him he had to get up. For the record, they will manage to be perfectly synchronized at the very end of this show, when they will turn around at the same time to look towards the ring and then lift their belts. It was one of the most memorable scenes of this legendary team of the Brothers of Destruction. It's November 23, 2020 on Raw, one of the weekly shows. On that day, a moment was filmed that should not have been. It concerns the terrifying character of The Fiend, who was played by the late Bray Wyatt.
He's here!
Randy Orton faced AJ Styles in a match with an important stake, since it allowed the winner to get closer to Drew McIntyre's title at that time. Except that the first one was in a story with The Fiend, which will lead to an incredible Inferno match, and then to a clash at WrestleMania 37. But on that evening, he will be surprised to see the Demon appear right behind him at a moment when he was leaning against the barrier. However, something didn't exactly go according to plan. The whole idea with the appearances of The Fiend was to give the impression that he was teleporting and that he appeared as if by magic. Nevertheless, a few seconds before his second appearance, where he was going to terrorize Randy, the cameraman filmed him by mistake, so we could see him discreetly coming out of his hiding place and getting ready for his moment, which was a bit amateurish. When he finally shows up next to the Viper, attentive viewers won't be surprised to see him because of this error. This is a clumsiness on the production team part. They simply should have thought of filming from another angle when The Fiend was about to appear. It's the summer of 2019. At that time, Roman Reigns, who was not yet the tribal chief character, was targeted by a mysterious person. In a SmackDown episode, he was walking quietly to be interviewed when a scaffolding suddenly falls on him. It was quite an impressive scene. As viewers, we wondered who could be behind this assault. However, there is going to be a moment filmed by mistake which is quite funny. As Roman was leaving, we could see the wrestler Buddy Murphy in the background. Where it gets funny is that he wasn't supposed to appear in this scene at all. He was simply hanging around backstage at the arena and probably didn't know Roman Reigns was going to be there while being filmed. When he realized he was going to be in the camera shot, he moved in a rather absurd way, hoping that no one would notice him. The great thing is that this mistake was used in the story later. We will see Roman Reigns take Buddy Murphy to task to find out if he was the culprit of this assault. It's a rather original way of embedding yourself in a story. Imagine that in the end, all this will lead to a scene where the culprit was supposed to be revealed. It was quite surreal and almost made the wrestlers burst into laughter. We continue with a little scene that happened in 2024 on the way to WrestleMania 40. The New Day, DIY and Awesome Truth teams are talking together backstage. On the other hand, we can see something in the background. Drew McIntyre is in the middle of a discussion with Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns' special counsel. We could choose to be a little naive by telling ourselves it was surely a mistake. Maybe they were just chatting without knowing they were being filmed. Or it was a well-intended staging, as a little hidden clue about the future. After all, he would face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, to whom The Rock promised that he would make his heavyweight title disappear.
The Rock is gonna take that title, disappear.
In any case, we are facing a new interesting scenario that modern WWE seems to like. The false broadcast by mistake moment. We create what looks like a scene filmed by accident that is not really one. Internet users will have fun observing all the details in the background and will talk even more about the shows. A smart strategy. We're going to talk about one of the most famous moments of the year 2008 in the Federation. Chances are you've already seen it on TV or in some kind of compilation. Jeff Hardy's famous swanton bomb on Randy Orton from the top of a scaffold. It was Jeff's madness in all its glory who risked his life to offer us a mind-blowing jump that many will never forget. It was legendary and incredibly brave of him. However, new images a few years later will show us that his fall had been cushioned and that he had actually landed next to his opponent. Obviously, we suspected it since the company hadn't explicitly filmed the moment of the impact. Despite everything, it remains a moment that captivated millions of people, which is the most important thing. Finally, we end with a moment broadcast by mistake which concerns the famous Money in the Bank briefcase. If you are a little familiar with the WWE, you may know that it is an important object. Whoever manages to win it in a ladder match wins a title opportunity at any time for a whole year. We have always been presented with this concept as a contract that would be inside the suitcase, which would therefore give the wrestler the legal possibility to do this. Except that one scene accidentally revealed that it wasn't exactly true. We go back to 2010 to a period when The Miz was Mr. Money in the Bank.
Awesome!
This briefcase will enable him to realize his dream in November and become champion. On the other hand, in September, he had a somewhat awkward interaction with Daniel Bryan. The latter will attack him while he was presenting the cover of the company's magazine on which he appeared. Leaving the stage, while his buddy Alex Riley was being destroyed, he picks up his briefcase. It had been thrown during the assault, which unclipped it. By accident, it opens up as The Miz grabs it. The truth explodes. It is empty. No sign of a contract anywhere. Of course, this is not a revelation that completely changes our Money in the Bank perception. However, it remains a moment that should not have been shown on the air. And that was it for these WWE moments you were not supposed to see. Whether it was scenes where the viewers were completely manipulated or production errors, we were able to realize how important the production is in a wrestling show. With small mistakes, the suspension of disbelief of the fans can be broken, or the effect of a moment can be ruined. In the end, cameramen have a crucial role that we might forget in sports entertainment. This is an opportunity to salute their work, since these mistakes do not represent at all their breathtaking work for many years. This makes me offer you a debate. In your eyes, does the current WWE production makes its shows more pleasant to watch compared to the early 2000s, for example? We invite you to come and give your opinion. It will be interesting to talk about it together in the comments and to share our points of view. We can say that sports entertainment really is a fascinating world. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay on the paradise of wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?